changing the culture of well-being doesn't happen overnight. I think we can all attest to that, but having the right resources behind and investment behind from both personnel and from a financial perspective can really drive the needle in a lot of great places.
Welcome, everybody, to Navigate's People First podcast. Thank you all for joining us. Please continue to subscribe and like our podcast if we are bringing value to your day. Today's episode, to close out the year, is a little different. We're going to take a look back at 2024 before diving into what we expect from Navigate in 2025. Joining us on this journey with Jeremy and I today are Jim Barclay, Senior Vice President of Operations, and Brooke Ossenkop, our Vice President of Marketing. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us. Brooke, Jim, it's awesome to have you with Jeremy and I. Welcome to the podcast. We've got a lot to dig into. One thing I do want to just visit about is 2024. 2024 is a great year for Navigate, thinking about our investment from McCarthy Capital, thinking about a merger, thinking about our expansion of Total Health, our new UI, UX improvements. Just wanted to visit with you guys about 2024, then we're gonna jump into 2025. So Jay, let's start with you first. 2024, what are you thinking and how are you feeling about it?
I think it's been a strong year for Navigate in general. The people at the organization have experienced a lot of change, a lot of growth. So that's exciting and lots of opportunities for people. Our side of the house has been working furiously on a couple of projects. Probably at the top of the list that people will be experiencing very soon is the new user experience of the platform. Very excited about it. It is meant to help support our efforts when it comes to personalization, when it comes to bringing people what they need out of their wellness program. Our focus has been on our participant understanding what comes next in the program and, just having overall context of it. We did a lot of listening, a lot of feedback from partners and participants, and took all of those learnings and put them into action. So I couldn't be more excited, although we're still in the process, still rolling it out and still making it happen. But I couldn't be more excited for our participants to experience that long term. We think it's going to be a huge win for our clients, for our participants, and just sort of overall understanding of what they need and what they want out of their program. And it'll support us going into the future with even more personalization. Really, really very excited and really very relieved to be out from under it.
James, when you think about 2024 and clients, and you're working with over 300 plus clients every single year, where does your head go?
Yeah, like Jeremy mentioned, Navigate's seen significant growth, but excited that growth is creating excitement from our clients. They're seeing that personalization journey that, we started a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, really with Total Health, and being able to now see even more of the efforts and energies and focus that we're putting into our programs and our technology. Our clients are really excited about being able to deploy that into their programs and offer that to their employees. So again, the growth is not only great internally here at Navigate, seeing a lot of change, but I think our clients are hungry for that change to then come to fruition with their programs as well.
I love seeing the data that we present to our clients and just showing them consistent overtime improvements and sometimes big jumps in specific things. And
it's working.
Yeah. I love
that's the data doesn't lie. It's working. And again, I think the more folks that are seeing it and are able to implement it in their programs, they're also excited about the results that they're seeing as well.
Brooke, you are the newest member of the executive team at Navigate, and I'm excited for people to get to meet you. When you think about 2025 and our go-to-market strategy, and we're looking at understanding people first well-being, perhaps maybe give a little bit of background, but then also when you think about that focus on putting people at the center of healthcare and our focus for 2025, maybe touch on that a little bit.
Absolutely. So super excited to be part of this executive team and to share the stage with you all today. As we look at 2025 and working in health and well-being over the past 5 years, we've seen a significant shift, not just in the desire for personalization or additional support or additional benefits, but also the way that HR thinks about well-being in totality. So in HR, human capital really represents that economic value of people's skills and talents and abilities. And it's one of an organization's most critical assets, really influencing that overall growth and deliverability for that organization. So with the HR leaders and benefit leaders that we work with, we really help them understand what it looks like to invest in their people through development, through education, through health, and through well-being. And they come to Navigate because we really succeed in building healthy and financially secure workforces and helping those clients achieve healthy and thriving organizations has really been a focus for day one for us. So when we think about people first well-being, we really think about how can we get people involved in their well-being? How can we give them the small steps that they need to take to make that next move? If we think about people coming into a well-being program, they are really looking for, what is my next step? What do I need to do to move from struggling to succeeding? And through our people first approach, we give them those steps to be able to do that.
When we look at closing the gap on a well-being strategy and that employee experience, Jay, that new UX, that UI, simplifying things, giving people that personal journey toward total health, maybe touch on that, how that affects that role of personalization, hyper-personalization that we're focusing on.
So it's been our mission for the past couple of years, and will continue to be our mission for the next couple of years at least, that the participants that come into our program will get an experience that is tailored to them. And in the past, that's been around things like biometrics and health assessments. And that's great. And that can be effective. But what's much more effective is if we know even more about you, right? If we understand your behaviors when it comes to a broader range of things, a more holistic approach to well-being. If we understand the things that are motivating you from a personality standpoint, if we understand how you look at your organization from an employee engagement standpoint, the more data sets we can bring to bear allows us to understand participants better and allows us to take that programming and put the appropriate activities in front of someone that's not just appropriate for what the organization is trying to achieve, but appropriate for what the participant is ready to achieve, right? We want to take into account a couple of different things. I think we took a pretty big step forward when it came to our total health assessment, when we're obviously looking at things like readiness to change, but we're also looking at willingness to change. And that was a big change for us. And it takes into account not just, are you ready to make, but are you going to get there? What's your likelihood of being able to invest in that? So we take in more and more data to support the participant, to be able to give them the things that are going to drive change in their life, and not just from a straight path. That's sort of one size fits all, but trying to bring a whole bunch of different things together. The new user experience allows us to get that participant on their own path in a way that's much more effective, as opposed to a collective, here's what we're all doing in this program. We're taking someone, holding them by the hand and saying, here's where you need to go. This is the next step that's for you. If you missed the mark and that's not for you, no problem. You can keep on going. But we're always going to be checking back in and saying, this is your next step. And when you're ready to take it, we're there for you. So you need everybody working in concert to get there, right? It has to be about your user experience. It has to be about the client experience. It has to be about communication. It has to be about understanding. It has to be about the people that you're talking to on the phone, whether it be our customer service team or our health coaches. Everybody's working in the same direction, understanding that there is someone out there that we can do some good for. And as long as we're all keeping that in the back of our minds when we're doing it, then we're going to achieve the goals that we've set out for ourselves and what our clients are trying to do, and our participants. We all can win together if we keep in mind what we're trying to achieve is for that person on the other end of the phone or the other end of the screen.
That's why I also think personalization has been and is going to continue to be a trend and focus in health and wellness and well-being now in 2025 and probably even beyond is the fact that we hear it time and time again from our clients, just navigating the digital marketplace of point solutions and trying to figure out there's so many resources to be able to offer to employees, but being able to hone in and say, I'm just not going to throw everything against the wall and say, hey, we have all these great resources. You go figure out what's going to work for you is now being able to tailor that experience, right? And again, that's where we can really step in and help organizations, most specifically with our total health platform, being able to say, okay, let's take all of those great resources that you either have internally or help you work and assess and do an audit of sorts of all those resources available. But now let's drive people to what they need the most help in because they're telling the program that they're telling you as an organization. So being able to activate that's huge as well.
I think it's something that we're all very proud of is that new ability to be able to drive people to those resources. And in a world where everybody has to be so conscientious about their spend and their budget, and all of these point solutions are just kind of overwhelming. We can help you pick and choose who gets what, and really, really drive those engagement numbers fairly significantly.
Brooke, as we move toward more hyper-personalization, and when you think about readiness to change, how do you see that supporting that personal transformation of an individual and how we're really prioritizing that within our well-being programs as we move forward in 2025?
Yeah, I think Jeremy touched on this. It's not just about personalization. It's also about what conditions have to be present for that individual to move from struggling to succeeding. And one of the things that we do really, really well is we remove those barriers. So when we think about employees and we think about all the surveys that are out there around mental health, and everybody has this huge need for mental health. If we look at a recent survey from Willis Towers Watson, they actually said, hey, they do want mental health benefits. However, most of your employees cannot access those because of financial health barriers. And what we do is we remove that financial health barrier. We say, here are your benefits. These are at no out-of-pocket cost for you. Let's get you using these benefits. Let's move you from where you are today to where you are tomorrow. And let's do so in a way that is through empathy, through choice, through personalization. We're not throwing everything at Jim and saying, hey, Jim, go navigate this on your own. Instead, we're taking you on that journey. We're giving you those resources that you need.
When we think about integrating those personal pathways into coaching conversations, coaching first when it comes to perhaps my manager and giving my manager the tools and resources to assist, but then also taking that next level when it comes to adapting to meet the individual unique needs of that person. Where does coaching fall into play? Jay, when you think about that coaching side of things, where does coaching fall into play when it comes to prioritizing coaching when it comes to that individual hyper-personalization for the next step?
I think the easiest way to understand another person is to have a conversation with them. And that's the true benefit of having a coach at whatever level of coaching you're doing, whether it be sort of population health, lifestyle coaching, or trying to manage chronic conditions. It's about interacting with the person, and all of the data gathering that we're doing on the platform is to understand what a coach can get to in about 10 or 15 minutes, which is truly, truly awesome. The coach is a tried and true and tested and effective way to drive behavior change. And I say that generically because behavior change can be across an entire gamut of what we're doing. Now, obviously, we're focusing on things like population health, nutrition, activity, and then we're looking at chronic conditions like heart disease and diabetes. But those coaching resources and being able to deliver coaching can apply to a much broader gamut of topics and conversations between people. And I think that's where we want to take this. We want to take the conversation. We want to take the individual programming, which is what health coaching is. It's a one-on-one targeted program about you and what you're ready to work on, all the things we try to do digitally. distilled down with a personal relationship. And so I think we take the fact that that has been proven to be effective time and time again, and we expand and we say, what else can coaches do? What else can we support our participants in their needs and their personalized journey? So I think that coaching is just an extension of personalization, taking it to the next level.
What that makes me think of too, just thinking about a coach and what a coach can be for someone's journey is specifically when it's personalized, taking that stigma of judgment, where you show up and listen, I know I've got bad eating habits, right? And the last thing you want to do is sit across the table from somebody and have them tell you that. But being able to take all the other facets of that information, and now all of a sudden there's an advocate, right? There's an accountability partner. There's somebody that can help you along the journey and give you other insights to maybe things that you weren't considering because all you were focused on was that one thing that you already knew. But man, there's so much more that goes into it that a health coach can walk you through, specifically when we're talking about like our 8 pillars of wellness and well-being and all the things that we're touching on from a lifestyle coaching perspective.
So Brooke, go there, that interconnectedness of different elements that shape someone's life. When you think about 2025 and the programs that we're seeing people put together with us, incorporating that holistic well-being, using our 8 pillars, where does your mind go to when it comes to the resources and the engagement of folks in communicating those resources out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first, and one of the things that we do better than anyone else is we bring the organization's values into the well-being program. So it's one thing to say, oh, you have a coach. It's another thing to say, hey, you have these well-being resources and you have this coach available and they understand our organization, right? Those are 2 different things. So we do that really, really well. And that then allows us to expose those 8 different pillars. It allows us to expose those different resources because they're all aligned within that organizational culture. And thinking about it from somebody that is struggling, somebody that is looking for what is my next step, it has to be simple. It has to be empathetic and it has to have choice. We deliver all of that, especially in our new UI UX. To go back to the coaching piece, we just had a really awesome client case study come out. And this client was a small critical access hospital. They were 140% over their trend in claims cost. And they came to a Navigate account manager and said, hey, what can we do? We are really struggling to understand how to support our employees. And working with the Navigate account manager, they were able to add biometric screening. They were able to reduce claim cost over 3 years by 40% and see a 32% decrease in high risk. And that's critical because we were there when those individuals needed us. We met them in the moments that mattered to them and delivered the services that they needed to make that change.
Keeping our healthy people healthy, focusing
Exactly.
on the high risk side of things, looking at how we encourage that preventive approach. Jim, when you're looking at strategies, incentives this year for 2025, looking at all the organizations launching, what are you seeing clients adopt to improve their long-term well-being when it comes to incentives or strategies around those incentives?
Touching on a little bit of kind of what Brooke mentioned, I mean, building things into their culture, right, is something we continually see strong programs succeed at, is finding those ways and opportunities where developing programs that fit into the everyday of what people are already doing and also leverages the great things that maybe a company's doing from a social or a community-based perspective, really tying in that culture. But then also mainstays, again, back to the trying to keep people healthy, right? Encouraging people to make great choices, whether it's providing the resources and opportunities. Make sure you're seeing your doctor, right? Make sure you're having that relationship. Make sure you know your numbers, and have the ability to do a self-assessment. But then also looking at all the great resources that are there, showcasing, how to activate and engage those resources, giving them the opportunity to find them, Sometimes navigating your own resources is tough, right? So a lot of times the program's bringing those things to the forefront, giving those employees the opportunity to see it with one click versus struggling to find or going through programs or internal systems that maybe have things hidden, buried. So again, lots of times we're seeing the getting to the doctor, making sure that there are solutions that are set up around culture, around social engagement, but again, activating that personal journey as well.
And if you think about rewards, how powerful is it to say, you can take these actions, we make it super simple for you, and you'll earn $300 for doing so. And thinking about our content, it's not content where somebody clicks and gets a reward, or they're doing a step challenge and they unlock a destination. Instead, our challenges are taking people through building one small habit, understanding one small piece of their resources, helping them kind of take that next step every single week during that challenge. So you can feel really good about those incentives and rewards because it is making a change. It's not just this person unlocked this destination, and so here's a reward for you.
Healthy competition is something that's always there as well as mainstays. I mean, we have challenges. We've got population-based challenges, individual challenges, but something that we've also been hearing a lot from program design is battling loneliness. We're coming off, the pandemic of 2020 and hybrid workforce. I mean, those things are here to stay. There's been a significant change in that realm. So as we think about mental health, we're also trying to address the loneliness of sitting, at your dining room table in front of your computer. And how do you connect to that culture that a company is super proud of and all those resources, and then make people feel connected behind that screen? That's a big driver for a lot of programs trying to build that, again, cultivate the community aspect, the social aspect of their own employees.
Creating that positive and supportive environment is a variable, as we say, in the equation of why well-being works and why there's an ROI behind well-being. Brooke, I want to go back. You make a really good point of like this one click. I read this, I get an incentive. Gallup came out with a survey of 151 CHROs from large companies that, reveals that the well-being ranks as a top organizational priority this year and for 2025, over 25%, number one priority. But then we're also seeing where the percentage of employees who strongly agree that their organization cares about their overall well-being is at a record low of 21%. So when I think about that, I think about large companies. I think about the data that Gallup brought back. I think about percentage of employees actually feel that they are supported by their organizations. And I want to say there are about 3 organizations in our market that control the large market well-being platforms. To me, that says they're not working. Mm-hmm. And I'm taking off a little bit of my Midwest nice right now, but I'm looking at that saying that if those platforms are failing to deliver on the promises that CHROs are saying that they're going to support their employees, then that goes back to the culture of what's happening. They're not working. So it's time for maybe us to take a different look at how we engage our culture, connect people, think about their care, and bring those together along with our mission, our values. And we can really start to see where the role of supporting an employee well-being program is different than it was in the last 7 years, 8 years with those 3 large organizations that are more about volume than personalization.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that's one of the special sauce items around Navigate is we offer well-being solutions that can do things that others can't, right? So we first start off in program design. We understand your needs, your values, your goals, and that is how we craft the entire program. And then we get the participant engaged and we collect data. We help them through making that change from struggling to succeeding. And then on top of that, we also think about how we support the client throughout this entire journey. And what do they need today? What does tomorrow look like? What are they going to need in the future? And we're constantly having those conversations so that everybody continues to grow together.
But we think about measuring outcomes and using that data for good, tracking key metrics, not just at the end of the year, but throughout the year. Jim, I know you're doing that on a monthly, quarterly basis with clients. Maybe touch on that. And Jay, I'm going to bring it back over to you. It's like identifying areas where we can assist our organizations throughout the year when we're using that data for good. Maybe touch on that a little bit, but
Trying to combat the big three or kind of that transactional approach to well-being. Really looking at it from, we're stepping into a partnership with organizations that we work with. And that really starts with that first initial conversation, but it has to do with a lot of listening. And I feel like as simple as that sounds, that is one thing that time and time again, we hear from groups that come to work with us, sometimes that are coming to us from other well-being solutions, is the fact that we are taking that time to sit down and understand what's driving those needs. Starting from there, we're building out that solution together and also trying to understand what are the goals, what are the success metrics that you're looking to achieve that we can identify, and then take all of the data that we're bringing in through the program. And again, on that monthly basis, Troy, as you're talking about, we have our scorecards and success metrics that we're able to bring back to the table, revisit those things on an ongoing basis, and really evaluate the effectiveness of the program. Are things working? Coming in halfway through or even a quarter into your program, we want to understand if we are driving change, making impacts and differences. And if we're not, those are the times that we can make those adjustments. Changing the culture of well-being doesn't happen overnight. I think we can all attest to that. But having the right resources behind and investment behind from both personnel and from a financial perspective can really drive the needle in a lot of great places.
One of the things that I super love, the case study with Prisma, where they have over 30,000 employees, and the account management team was able to say, hey, listen, it looks like financial health is of interest and you have a lot of people that are ready for that next step, but we don't have a resource here. And Prisma was able to add a resource super quickly, and they were able to make significant changes in their employee population. That doesn't typically happen with well-being solutions. You get your, annual review and you talk about X amount of people participated in this challenge or X amount of people onboarded. We're able to actually show, hey, this is where individuals need support. Let's give them a resource. Let's put it in front of them and let's drive those results that you're looking for.
And it really negated the superficial, support. It really focused on, we listened, we took action, we brought in our financial well-being partner integrated within Navigate, and we got to the root cause of what your emotional well-being is maybe, getting affected by. And we looked at that financial well-being and we built upon that incentive. That's that listening. That's the adaptation during the year. That's being able to do things in a simplistic way, and also doing in the user experience side of things that's very streamlined for that member. That's the important aspect to me, I think, that gets lost sometimes. I call them the big three. Maybe we are the Dr. Pepper of well-being. We're that group that has the different flavors that come together to say every single thing when it comes to health and well-being is unique for an organization. How do we go about helping you build that and have that culture, make sure they care, connect it all together and simplify it? Jay, that root cause in using data for good, I know you're chomping at maybe answering this, but where do you feel the substance around using that data is advantageous working with us?
I think the speed to delivery is one of the most important things that we've got going on. And it's not just having a dashboard that you can log into. We've all got dashboards that you can log into. We've got people that are delivering that information to you on a regular basis and making recommendations. Give you an example. In this year, one of the big trends of this year has been financial well-being. But that trend popped out of 2023 data, which at the end of the year, everybody crunched the numbers just like we did in our holistic survey and said, we've got some declines in financial literacy across the board. We need to start promoting that. But that's not where it started for Navigate. It started early in 2023 having those conversations because we're looking at the data on a real-time basis and doing monthly deliveries to our biggest clients that it's affecting. So whereas there's a year turnaround for most people, we're sitting there in Q1 going, I'm seeing some alarming stuff from, financial literacy based on your survey results. This is something we should pay attention to. And we're ready to put something in place much, much faster while everybody else is still talking about the trends. We're actually sort of moving the needle at that point. So I get excited about the speed of getting that data out of there. And then it comes to sort of tried and true methods, right? You look at, can we change behaviors? Yes. Are we changing risk trends in biometrics? Yes. Are we able to look at chronic conditions and rates of people with those and estimate how much we think we're going to save by moving those people to lower risk? Absolutely. But I think the heart of it is really what Jim was talking about, in that each person, each client gets a different set of ROI criteria because they all have a different goal that they're trying to achieve, whether that be risk trend, whether that be culture building, whether that be engagement, or whether that just be getting people to the doctor. All of those are valid ways to approach a well-being program. And we don't want to tell you this is how you have to do it. You tell us how you have to do it, and we'll make sure we support it with everything we can. So when I think about returning on investment and showing value to our participants, I say, great. How can we help?
Communication is a key ingredient and one of the highest priorities when it comes to how we connect people. Rather than seeing work and well-being as competing priorities, organizations have the ability to kind of communicate how that can prioritize and bring those things together. Brooke, when you think about, we all want to have a meaningful life. We want to connect with people. Communication is that key ingredient. Where does your head go when it comes to that element of well-being and how we're helping folks on that communication vector?
I think to Jeremy's point, we're not just crunching the data, we are connecting the dots. And there's multiple ways that we connect those dots. We can connect them through multi-channel communications. We can connect them through engagement on the platform. But at the end of the day, we are delivering that message with empathy and helping somebody understand that next step. That is the most critical thing for communication. It is simplifying, straightforward. What is that next step I need to take? That helps them move from one place to the next as easily as possible.
I think the other thing too, you connect data and communications, right? And specifically in this whole personalization journey, is the fact that now the communications that is going to be straightforward and simple has meaning to what you're actually trying to do. And again, all of that awesome data that we're collecting, the data that's coming through from the personalization, the surveys, or the health assessment type surveys that we're doing, is collecting that information so that we can provide relevant communications for that actionable next step versus just a canned static, which generally you're getting, right? Like in that kind of population-based setting. You're getting something that Jim Barclay can take action on.
One of our priorities in Navigate was really looking at our features, our functionalities. Jay, when you see some future updates beyond the UX UI that Navigate is really focused on listening to our clients, where are you seeing the positive approach to what we're fostering forward when it comes to new features and benefits that we have on functionalities?
I'd love to talk about what we've got coming up.
This could be a whole episode.
I know we could go for a while on this.
Future, but
to keep it brief, I think about the values of what's been successful at Navigate with our clients. I think we've seen a lot of success with personalization, and we will continue to go down that path, whether it is basically understanding new data sets, right? We want to take a harder look at biometrics. We want to make sure that those claims data is able to impact the personalized journey. I want to take the data that we're already collecting and apply it in new ways. Communications is clearly one of those, right? Just to give you a quick example, I think maybe we've talked about this on the podcast before, but it's one of my favorite things that I think we can make happen is we've got this personality assessment. We've got this personality assessment data. I want to be able to take that data and apply it to what you're experiencing in the platform, specifically, or perhaps first, in the communications. Your personality will impact how you react to communications, whether that be just content or salutations or imagery or colors. all of that can play a role in how you're going to react to something. So if we know that personality assessment would say you would prefer a form of communication that is more straightforward and to the point and quick, then absolutely. And at the other end of the spectrum, maybe we have one that is a little more narrative and a little more heartstring tuggy. I think it's perfectly in the realm of our possibilities and capabilities that down the road, you'll see communications that are living at both ends of the spectrum and somewhere in the middle that will help engage participants. So to sort of get back on track, personalization and taking all of those cool things you can do with data and personalization and building more complex behind the scenes well-being programs to deliver more simplified actions to participants on the front end.
And how cool is it if you integrate that into the employee lifecycle? So you have been with us for 90 days. At 90 days, I'm going to serve you a pulse survey. I'm also going to, because I understand how you like to be communicated to, I'm going to provide you new resources that are now available to you at your 90 days. I'm going to make sure that your manager is checking in with you. How are your first 90 days? And then likewise, I've been here 5 years. How are we celebrating my service awards? How am I getting recognized through the platform? So really not just how somebody moves through a well-being program, but how they move through their employee life cycle and giving them all those different touch points.
And that touches on the long-term opportunities of health and well-being and all those variables when it comes to the why.
Exactly.
So Jim, what advice would you give our HR folks listening today around recognition, appreciation, acknowledging those employees' contributions? What advice would you give? You lead a significant group here at Navigate. What advice would you give those folks out there when you think about recognition and appreciation of employees' contributions?
Yeah, I think the one word answer to that is choice. Probably long ago are the days where, just the getting a pin or getting a watch or getting just that one item, or maybe it's a mug, right? Like all of those things.
Great mug.
It is a great mug. Those things are all great. But when it relates to somebody who is pouring out of what they're trying to accomplish on their own personal journey, recognition and rewarding is not, just like well-being, is not a one size fits all. So choice is something that I think will also be a mainstay. So being able to provide multiple opportunities, whether that is just a simple gift card. Also things that, again, back to the remote environment, kind of rewinding the clock to those handwritten notes, sometimes, especially from a leadership involvement. Oftentimes the programs that we look at, leadership kind of activation and leadership involvement has such a huge superpower. And something as simple as a thank you or a handwritten recognition type letter can go a long way still, specifically in today's environment. But ultimately, choice is kind of the one word advice that I would give to people looking at how do I reward, how do I incentivize, give people the ability to choose their own path and what recognition looks like.
Could also think about it in terms of what is important to that person on their career journey. So one of the things that I love is our video courses around mentorship. And if somebody is maybe a couple years in their role and they're really looking for that next growth opportunity, that's an awesome way to say, hey, I recognize you. Here is a couple of courses around intro to mentorship. Love for you to join our mentor group or to be a mentor to someone on the team. And here are the resources that you need to do that. And so thinking about the employee's journey, not linear, but also what does that career path development look like, and using your wellbeing program for that.
I love that because when we often think, really a lot of us, right, think reward and recognition, we go to cash-based type of things. So development is also, that's awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate that too, Brooke, because I think about the multi-generational workforce, and there are challenges with a multi-generational workforce, but there are advantages to a multi-generational workforce too. And we think about the institutional knowledge that is out there in our generational workforce and being able to use that for our mental well-being of the folks that are working with us. That is a resource that is there. And there are many people that love to mentor and would love to be able to share the institutional knowledge up and down that ladder of multi-generations. And really, we could tap into that. And you can use a Navigate platform for that. And I love it. And I appreciate that, because to me, that even builds another level of opportunity for a cohesive culture. Brooke, what advice would you give that HR individual who's looking at enhancing the creativity and the innovation around their well-being program?
Yeah. So I'm going to give two pieces of advice. The first is removing the financial barrier. So when you position your well-being program, I would position it as we offer health and well-being resources at no additional cost to you, so that is 100% removed. The individual realizes they're going to go in there, they're going to have access to things that they can use today that are going to be free to them. The second piece that I would say is integrate your values, your organization, and leverage your account management team. Especially at Navigate, we have such great experience to draw from to understand how companies like me do this or do that, or where have they been successful, or what things haven't worked out really well. And having that sort of personal guidance system to helping you build your well-being program is indispensable.
And it gives employees ownership of their own health and well-being.
Exactly. Yep.
Jay, what advice would you give to someone who is looking at the role of technology and leveraging technology when it comes to creating that supportive and inclusive remote workforce and that environment as they prioritize connecting with people?
Technology is a lever to pull on bigger strategy and individual tactics. Our platform happens to be incredibly capable and very flexible in what it delivers, but it's ultimately there to deliver your vision or your culture or your strategy. So when I think about technology, I think take advantage of it. I think that we've got a communication system that is able to be highly personalized to participants or groups of participants, targeted to, locations or people at certain risk statuses. Take advantage of that. I see we've got pulse surveys out there. Run a quick pulse survey. If you have a question for the population, ask. I think that's the biggest thing I would say is talk to your account manager, say, what do you want to achieve? And let them help you understand what our capabilities are to deliver for you. I would say, don't think about it as technology. Think about it as what your goals are and how we can achieve them. Maybe you've seen some other things asked, but ask the question and let us leverage what we've got and take advantage of it.
Guys, there's a lot of people listening, and continue to listen and subscribe and like when you're out there listening to us. We want to leave folks with a nugget that they can take into 2025. I'm going to give you a 10-word answer. I'm going to test you guys on a 10-word answer. My 10-word answer to creating that supported environment that well-being can be an X factor with is a culture of respect, empathy, open communication encourages employee well-being. If we do that, and that's our strategy, we combine our mission, our values. We think about aligning those mission and values with our well-being program. We look at using data for good. We look at connecting career development, rewards and recognition, women's health, mentoring up, looking at our families and how our families' health and connecting with health and well-being. That's where I see the future of 2025. I know that's more than 10 words, but my initial statement was 10 words. Jeremy, when you think about a 10-word answer around employee well-being and how fostering that positive company culture, where does your head go for 2025?
For me, it goes empathy in everything we do and transparency in every conversation we have.
Brooke?
I'm in marketing, so I'm going to make it shorter than 10 words. I'm going to say, make every day count. There is a sense of urgency. We have to take that next step. One of the things that the marketing team has been doing has been working with the product team to create a calendar of 365 days of well-being. and how you can leverage the Navigate platform through that. So that exercise alone has been one where we've really dug in deep. We've really thought about what well-being means across all those 8 pillars and delivering that in a daily tip.
Love it. James?
I think my 10-word answer moving into 2025 would be deploy technology to leverage and listen to your employees' needs. Again, we through this whole entire conversation, right? The personalization journey, how we can leverage technology with data and communications. Again, all of these programs don't work if you're not listening to what people are actually asking for and having those mechanisms in place to leverage that. So again, simply use that technology to better understand the employee needs.
Okay, guys, best day ever. I was really surprised that none of you wore vests. I thought for sure there would be some sort of best action today, but James, where are you going with your best day ever?
So keeping it with the spirit of the holidays. So we had a new addition to the family over the weekend. Not what you're thinking. My 10-year-old son is a huge yard inflatable extravaganza type person. So we just purchased our first 20-foot yard inflatable. We have a Christmas tree that is bigger than our house sitting outside of our house. So pretty exciting in the Barclay household. My 10-year-old son is over the moon.
20 feet tall.
20 feet tall. It's big.
It's focus on your priorities. I love it.
It's big.
And electric bills.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Jeremy.
I'm going to keep it simple for the holidays. I'm going to say mashed potatoes. Best day ever is mashed potatoes. And I say that because it is just a time for us as a family to cook something together, to enjoy a meal together, to enjoy everybody's time together. Mashed potatoes is just when I think about, the holidays, I think about food and I think about mashed potatoes. So
Garlic mash, or we just go straight?
I like a little extra garlic. My wife, a little less so. So we go with extra garlic.
Brooke?
Oh, okay. Sleep is very important to me. I like my sleep a lot. I typically go to sleep around 8:30, 9 every night. And last week, my son called probably like 10:30, 11. I, of course, missed it. I woke up the next morning and my husband had written me a sticky note saying Adrian got into a program in London. So he's going to go to London. I know. Wasn't it awesome? And it was like super special because he left me that note. So I saw it first thing when I woke up. Yeah.
Love it. Sleep is very important.
It is.
My best day is, we're at the end of the year. It's been an amazingly blessed year for Navigate and our organization and the families that are part of this organization and the growing organization. And I just, I'm just so happy of how we've maintained our amazing culture at Navigate. Getting a great place to work designation this year was extremely positive for us as we're growing. And I'm a CEO. And so when we think about our organization and our growth and how we're doing things the right way, I just love our company culture. I love how we've intertwined work, well-being, family, career development, and purpose into our organization as we continue to grow. And I think we're just getting started. So we're a perfect example where healthy employees and happier employees lead to positive and upbeat work environment that is positive and able to serve others. And I'm a big fan of what we're doing. I have a sense of urgency to, do more. And I think we're going to do that in 2025. So thank you guys, our executive team. Thank you to all of our employees at Navigate. We're blessed to have all of you part of our family, and we are a family here at Navigate, and we're doing a lot of good for others, and let's continue to keep that sort of mentality. So I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season, and Jim and Brooke, thanks for joining us on our podcast. Jay, as always, thanks everybody for what you do for others out there. Continue to subscribe, like, give us suggestions. We are listening, and please look to navigate where we can help you out any way possible. We're here to serve. So thank you all. Have a great holiday. Happy 2025. We'll see you.